Hey guys, welcome back to Stock My Closet. For today's project, I have taken 2 meter cotton fabric and this is a measurement I'm using. You can adjust it according to your measurement. Firstly, I'll cut the bodies and for that I have folded the fabric twice in width. So here I have 4 layers of fabric. Now I'll mark the length, that is 18 inch in my measurement, and I'll add 1 inch for seam allowance, half inch for the top and half inch for the bottom. So I'll mark a point at 19 inches and I'll cut it out. I'll cut one more length. So I have placed the cutout piece on the fabric and I have cut another length. So this is for front and this is for back. Now open and join both pieces. So here I have 2 layers, one for front and one for back. And now I'll fold the bodies according to the required width, which is the widest measurement on the bodies, that is burst measurement, including ease and seam allowance. So I've cut it out. Now I'll mark the measurements. For shoulder, take half of shoulder width. In my measurement, shoulder width is 14 inches and half of it will be 7. Neck width is 2.75 inches. Mark half inch downwards for shoulder slope and join it to the neck width point. From this point, mark half of armhole round, that is 7 inches in my measurement. From the top, mark a point at 10.5 inches, shoulder to burst measurement, and 16.5 inches, shoulder to waist measurement. Mark 1 inch inwards for front armhole curve and join it to the shoulder slope point. Now I'll mark the round measurements. For chest, I'm adding 2 inch of ease. In my measurement, chest round is 35 inches. 35 plus 2 is 37 and dividing it by 4, I'll get 9.25 inches. For burst, I'm adding 3 inches of ease. In my measurement, burst round is 36 inches. 36 plus 3 is 39 and dividing it by 4, I'll get 9.75 inches. For waist, I'm adding 4 inches of ease. In my measurement, waist round is 32 inches. 32 plus 4 is 36 and dividing it by 4, I'll get 9 inches. Join these points using curved ruler. For bottom, I'm taking 1 inch more than the waist measurement. So I've marked a point at 10 inches. Adding 1 inch for seam allowance. And now I'll draw front and back armhole curves. And I'll cut it out. Now I'll mark waist dart. From on-fold side, mark 3.5 inches inwards. Now from the shoulder, mark burst point, that is 12 inches in my measurement. Again mark 3.5 inches and join these points. I'm making 1 inch wide dart, so I'll mark half inch on the both sides of the center and join these points. I haven't trimmed the excess fabric on the sides. Firstly, I'll stitch the dart and then I'll trim the excess fabric on the sides. Now I'll cut the front armhole curve. And with this, bodice cutting is complete. Now I'll stitch it. Firstly, I'll finish the darts. I have made back and forth stitch on the bottom side, but on the top side I have cut out long tail of thread and I'll just make 2 or 3 knots and I'll cut out the extra thread. And this is how it will look. And similarly, I'll finish dart on the front and the back side. Now I'll remark the round measurements. Chest is same 9.25 inches. Burst is same 9.75 inches. So as you can see, there's a difference in waist measurement because of that. So I'll remark the measurement at 9 inches and I'll join these points, adding seam allowance, and I'll trim out the extra fabric. I have cut out round shape neckline for both front and back, and now I'll finish the neckline. So I've finished the necklines, and at the bottom I've left seam allowance of 0.75 inches and I've drawn a line, and taking this as guiding line, I'll attach the lace. To attach the lace, I'm using red color thread on the top and peach color thread in the bobbin. So I've attached the lace. Now join front and back bodies, right sides together, and stitch shoulder slope on both sides. So I made a stitch on the shoulder slope and I have overlocked it. Now I'll stitch the side fitting seam. So I finished the bodies, now I'll cut the sleeves. And for that I've cut out the required length, that is 15 inches from the fabric. Sleeve length is 14 inches. And from the top, mark a point at 3.5 inches, that is cap height. For armhole width, divide bust measurement by 4 and deduct 1 inch out of it. In my measurement, bust measurement is 36 inches. 36 divided by 4 is 9 and 9 minus 1 is 8. So I'll mark a point at 8 inches. Join these points. Now measure and divide this line into 3 parts. This is 9 inches, so I'll mark point on 3 inches twice. From this point, mark half inch upwards, and from this point, mark half inch upwards and 0.75 inch downwards. Now I'll draw front and back armhole curves. Now on the bottom side, mark half of sleeve round, that is 5.25 inches in my measurement. Join these points using curve ruler, adding 1 inch of seam allowance, and I'll cut it out. So I've cut out the sleeves and I'll add ruffle to the sleeves. So for that I've cut out the rectangular piece from the same fabric. Length is 5.5 inches and width is 10 inches. I've cut ruffle in 2 pieces, one for each sleeve. Now I'll finish the sleeves, and for that I'll make the finishing seam on the bottom side of the ruffle, and on the top side I'll make basting stitch to add gathers. Double fold the seam allowance and make a stitch on the inner edge to secure it. So I finished the bottom round. Now on the opposite side I'll make the basting stitch. Fold the ruffle by half and make a tuck. So I made a basting stitch. To add gathers, pull the bobbin thread and gently move the gathers towards the center and adjust gathers according to the sleeve bottom round. So I've added gathers on the ruffle and I've adjusted it according to the sleeve bottom round. Now I'll attach ruffle with the sleeve, and for that Place the ruffle on the sleeve, right sides together, and make a stitch to secure it. So I made a stitch. Now I'll overlock it. So I've attached the ruffle and this is how it will look. Now keep the seam allowance direction towards the sleeve and make a top stitch. So I have attached the ruffle. Now I'll attach the lace. Cut out the required length. And now I'll make a stitch to secure it. So I've attached the lace. Now fold the sleeve by half in width. And now I'll stitch the side fitting seam. So I've finished the sleeve. Now I'll attach the sleeve with the bodice, and for that take wrong side of the bodice and right side of the sleeve. Insert the sleeve into the armhole like this. Now join side seams and the center of the shoulder of both bodice and the sleeve and make a stitch all around the armhole. Similarly, I'll attach the other sleeve and now I'll cut and finish the bottom part. For bottom, I'm making gathered ruffle, and for that I have folded the fabric twice in width. So here I have 4 layers of fabric. I'm taking ruffle length 11 inches and I'll add 1.5 inch for seam allowance. Ruffle width is 10.5 inches and I'll cut it out. I'll cut out one more length. Firstly, I'll join and sew both pieces together. Now I'll finish the bottom round. And for that, just double fold the seam allowance and make a stitch on the inner edge. So I finished the bottom round. Now on the opposite side, I'll make the basting stitch to add gathers. So I made a basting stitch. To add gathers, pull the bobbin thread and adjust gathers according to the body's waist. Now I'll join ruffle with the bodies, and for that place ruffle on the bodies, right sides together. Match side seams of both bodies and ruffle and pin it up. So I've pinned up the whole ruffle. Now I'll make a stitch to secure it. And with this my tunic top is ready, and this is how it looks. Thank you for watching guys, and if you like this video don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you next week. Till then, take care, bye bye.